Hi, thank you all for joining today's webinar. So hope you are all doing good. So please stay home and stay safe. In today's webinar, so we'll discuss on the difference between on-premises and cloud environments and what is cloud computing and a quick comparison of cloud providers and finally an overview of Windows Azure Cloud Platform. So before we start with the webinar, so let me introduce who we are. So TechieFrog is a tech educational platform, and our aim is to provide a high quality training for graduates. So we upgrade the skills of the graduates to our services and make them industry ready. So till now we have placed around 300 trainees on different technologies across the world. And coming to our services, we provide workshops, projects, internships, trainings, and placements. So we provide workshops on new trending technologies and industry expectations, so students can pick their career paths. And we also provide project-based learning, so it actually teaches the students to collaborate and learn problem-solving techniques. And we provide an on-campus and off-campus internships, so students can extend their knowledge on particular technologies. So we provide an end-to-end training on new technologies, and so we are implementing various types of training models to fulfill the business requirements. So we also make sure that we provide some best options for placing the resources on different technologies. Feel free to ask questions during the webinar via chat box, and all the questions will be addressed at the end of the webinar. And the link to the recorded presentation will be sent to you via email. And let me introduce myself. So this is Ravivarma Tomati. I'm having over 14 years of experience in enterprise and web-based application development using .NET technologies, and over 5 years of experience in Azure Cloud Services, and I'm a Microsoft certified professional on web development. Let's have a quick look into the agenda for today's webinar. So we'll try to understand on-premises versus cloud environments. So what is cloud computing? So benefits of cloud computing. So different types of cloud computing. So what are the service models in cloud computing? And some of the popular cloud providers. And then we do a quick comparison. An overview of Windows Azure Cloud. So Windows Azure Cloud Platform. And a quick overview through the Azure environments. And finally, we will conclude. So before we start with the cloud computing, so let's try to understand what is on-premises and cloud environments are. So the difference between an on-premises and cloud environment are essentially where the hardware and software resides. So which means if the hardware and software is hosted locally within the particular organization, so then it is called on-premises, whereas if the hardware and software is hosted in the internet, then it is called cloud. So take for example, if an office network is an example for an on-premises, whereas some services like Gmail, Google Drive, Google Maps, so these are some of the examples on the cloud services. Now let's do a quick comparison. So we'll take some scenarios to understand the differences. So the first one is set up a server. So for example, if we want to build a server locally, so we have to consider a lot of things. So like purchasing of the hardware, software installations, configuration of the server, network components, and also we have to maintain the power. So these are the different factors. So we have to take care in on-premises. So whereas, so that means so we have to spend, or which means a lot of capital expenses, and also we have to bear the maintenance cost also. But in cloud environments, we just use the pre-configured servers. So that means we don't have to pay anything. We just only pay for whatever the services we use. And let's take another factor, the hardware upgrade. So So in these examples, say suppose we want to increase the RAM of a server. So that means again, like, so we have to purchase the hardware. We have to stop the servers for some time, install the RAM, and then again we have to start the servers. So it means like, so we have some downtime of the services. So the server has to be stopped for some time. So whereas in cloud vendors, so the entire processing of any hardware upgradations will be taken care by the cloud providers. We don't have to worry about, like, so all these upgradations will be taken care by the cloud providers. So that means there is no downtime. The next factor is software licenses and software updates. So in on-premises, so organizations have to buy the licenses, and also they have to continuously update the softwares. So but in cloud, again, like, the cloud providers will manage the licenses and software updates. So another factor is IT support. So in on-premises, so we required a skilled IT resources to manage the hardware and software. So, and also we have to manage any system failures. But in the cloud, everything will be taken care by the cloud providers. So in sometimes we also call them as a cloud vendors. So the next factor is accessibility. So accessing files or services are limited within the organization on premises. That means if you want to share or if you want to access any of the files, which can be only accessed within that particular organization or within that particular network. So whereas in cloud, so files or services can be accessed from any location, and also they can be accessible with multiple devices also. So the other factor is the data security and recovery. So in on-premises, we have full control of the data because it's limits within a particular network, which means, like, so we have to take a continuous backup of the servers to maintain the integrity of the data, and also we have to take care of, like, any server failures, or we have to maintain the integrity on that. So but whereas in cloud, backupping of all the servers, the data of the backups will be taken care by the cloud, and also any kind of, like, a disaster recovery will be also managed by the cloud vendors. So but the downfall of this particular data security is, like, so it has a very limited control over the data, because so in the cloud, data is publicly shared, so it has a limited control for the data. Now let's try to understand what is cloud computing is. So, so in simple terms, cloud computing means availability of the hardware and software components over the internet. So which will be not residing within our local hard drive or hard disk. So it will be available on the internet. And so the cloud providers are responsible for managing all those resources. And let's try to see the benefits of the cloud computing. So the first one is cost. In cloud, so everything is eliminated, like, so all the capital investments, or the capital cost of the investment will be eliminated here in the cloud computing, because all the hardware and software components are managed by the cloud, and also maintenance of the data centers is also managed by the cloud. So the cost will be very less. We just only pay for whatever the services we use on the cloud. Scalability. So the cloud provides the ability to scale up and scale down the resources. So, like, depending on the requirements, you just only scale up some of the resources, or some of the resources can be scaled down depending on the requirement. So let's try to understand this particular scalability with an example. So for example, like, if you want to watch movies on Amazon Prime or Netflix, so we know that in general, all these websites will have more traffic on weekends. So because more people try to watch movies on weekend, so it will be a more traffic, or so there will be a more requests. So to handle these particular requests, so cloud will automatically add more servers. And so depending, like, if there is the less traffic, so it will reduce the servers, or if it's more traffic, so it will automatically add some more servers to handle the request. So but in our end, like, so, like, whether that particular server has more requests or less requests, we don't find any difference. So we can stream the movies as a regular process. And the next benefit is collaboration. So cloud provides the best ability to access the same files from different locations. That means like I should be able to access the files from different locations. Also, the same file can be shared by different people. So the other benefit is data security. So cloud actually offers a broad set of policies, technologies, and controls to strengthen the security of the data. So that means it is actually offers a multi-level authentications to secure the data. So whenever we try to access any of the data, actually, so it will be going through different multi-level authentications, and then only we should be able to access the data. And so the other benefit is reliability. So cloud provides the continuous availability of the resources. So what it means, like for example, so we created a website and hosted on a internet providers. So that means like there is some chances that in some cases the website may fail, or so the website may down for some time. So but in the cloud, it maintains multiple instances of the same website in different data centers. So if one particular data center fails to open the website, then it automatically takes the instance of the same website from another data center. So that means we have a continuous availability of the resources irrespective of the failures at the backend. And the other benefit is performance. The cloud runs on a dedicated secure data centers, so which will actually configured with the high-end hardware systems. And the next benefit is mobility. So cloud provides the ability to access the resources from smart devices like mobiles and tabs. So we should be able to access the cloud resources with our mobile devices also. And the other benefit is cloud storage. The cloud is the best platform to store the information. So we can access the resources from multiple locations. Like office, I can access the files from office, or I can access the files from my home, mobiles, or any other smart devices. So let's take an example, like if I created a file in a Google Doc, I can access that file from my office, or even I can access the file from my mobile also. Now let's look into the types of the cloud providers, the types of the cloud computing. So we have three types of cloud computings. It is public, private, and hybrid. So in public cloud, so services are owned by the cloud providers. So, and as we already learned, all the services, all the resources will be owned by the cloud providers. So that means they will be maintaining the services. Yeah, it is a pay-as-you-go model, so which means you only pay for what are the services we use. So that means the cost will be less. And the downfall is like it has a lesser security because the resources are shared and the data is shared. So it has a lesser security and it has lesser control over the environment. So in private cloud, it is something similar to an on-premises environment. So it is dedicated to a single organizations and it has a higher security because it is limited, and the resources are not shared. So that's why it has a high security and it has the complete control of the environment. But the downfall is it is expensive than the public cloud. So, and the last one is hybrid cloud. It actually combines both the public and the private advantages, and it has a greater flexibility, but it is very expensive because so all the resources has to be maintained by the cloud providers. Now, so look into the different service models available on the cloud computing. So we have three types of service models: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So infrastructure as a service is actually, or in simply an on-demand servers. So it is basically a layer, is the basic layer of the cloud computing, so which provides hardware, storage, servers, and data center spaces. Or in simply we can say it provides all the hard networking components. So for example, we have Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure Virtual Machines, and Google Compute Engines. These are some of the examples of the infrastructure as a service. And the next model is platform as a service. So in which actually a third party providers delivers the hardware and software tools required for any type of application development. So it is a ready to use environment for the customers. Like all the required hardware and software will be managed by the third party providers. So for example, we have Microsoft Azure, Google Apps Engine. So these are some of the examples of the platform as a service. And the third one is software as a service. It is actually an on-demand software. So it lies on the distribution model in which actually again like the third party providers will host the applications on the internet and make them available for the customers to use. So all those applications will be hosted on the internet and we can just directly use them. So we have some of the examples like Office Online, Hotmail, Gmail, Google Docs, and Dropbox. These are some of the examples for the software as a service. So now just have a comparison of the control over the on-premises as well as control for the cloud. So in on-premises model, we have to manage all the resources starting from networking to applications. So whereas in the cloud providers, we will manage the resources depending on the service model. Say suppose if I have an infrastructure as a service model, then the cloud vendors will be managing only the networking, storage, servers, and virtualization. So if it is a platform as a service model, then they will be managing networking, storages, servers, virtualizations, operating systems, middleware, and runtime. And if they are managing the software as a service, then they have to manage from networking to application. They have to manage all the services. So we already learned that so in the on-premises, we have a higher cost for maintaining the resources, but it has more control of the data. And coming to Azure, it has lower cost and it has a higher agility. So which means it has more compatibility for using the services. Now let's see some of the popular cloud providers on the market. So we have Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, Cloud Solutions for SAP, Salesforce, Rackspace, Citrix, IBM Cloud, VMware, Oracle Cloud, Redmonk. So these are some of uh, the trending cloud providers available in the market now. So now try to understand the market share breakdown. So we'll take the popular or the leading the cloud providers. We have AWS, Azure, and Cloud. Google Cloud are the leading cloud providers now. So and the AWS is nothing but the Amazon Web Services is launched in 2006, and Microsoft Azure launched in 2010, and Google Cloud Platform is launched in 2011. So let's have some statistics here. Okay, as of February 2020, actually AWS is with 32.4% of market share, and Azure at 17.6% of market share, and Google at 6% market share. So Azure has an annual growth of 62.3% over AWS 33.3%. So even though AWS is leading the market share with 4 years of early start advantages, so but Azure is actually catching up very fast. Now let's try to understand some career paths or the careers in Microsoft Azure. So in recent Glassdoor statistics, so it was mentioned that like the opportunities for Azure job seekers having multiplicity, it has actually multiplied in recent years with the growing demand. And as for the Microsoft reports, so they say that like so they have like 1,000 new customers or the new subscriptions adding daily, and they have like a 50%, 57% of usage on the Azure for of all the Fortune 500 companies are actually sharing 57% of Azure services, and it has 6.3 millions of revenue per year, and it is actually growing year by year. And Azure services are officially approved by UK and US governments to handle their government data now. And some of the The roles we available on the Azure is like so Microsoft Azure Architect, Microsoft Azure developers, Azure DevOps engineers, Azure administrators who can administrate the complete services, and Azure networking specialist who will be handling the infrastructure services. And then we have Azure big data specialist who will be handling the data storages. Now try to understand what is Windows Azure is. So Windows Azure is actually a cloud computing platform created by Microsoft. It provides both infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, and it abstracts the hardware resources through virtual machines. And it has a common cloud benefits like virtualization, scalability, data security, collaboration, and it has an integrated data development IDE to develop applications, and it runs on dedicated Microsoft data centers. And Azure supports multiple programming languages, including Java, Node.js, C Sharp, and other managed and unmanaged .NET codes. So they have like several storage options. So starting from blobs, tables, and message queues. So and we have like also a dedicated SQL service. SQL Azure is available for maintaining the database management, which handles the reporting services also. And we have a connectivity with other API services. So with the .NET Azure, so we can interact with the other API services also. So now let's try to see some of the Azure services here. We have Azure App Services where we can create web apps, mobile apps, API apps, and logic apps. And also we have Microsoft SQL Azure, and we can create some virtual machines here. And we have Azure ML, so which is a machine learning technology, which can be used for different type of data analytics. And also we have an IoT cloud services, which can be used for on the different set of IoT devices. And we can create event hubs, load balancers, API management, so data factories. So these are some of the services available on the IoT cloud services. And also we have discussed like so these are the different storage options. We have blobs, drivers, queues, we have tables and files. So these are the different options to store the data on Azure cloud. Now see like what is Windows Azure platform. So at the high level, Windows Azure platform is used for building, testing, deploying, and managing applications, data, and services. So all the applications will be created with Windows Azure platform. It consists of three main components: compute, storage, and fabric control. So compute is actually this compute platform is used for building and hosting the applications and also scaling the resources through Microsoft managed data centers. So this compute platform will have three main components or the three main roles which are used to compute the resources or compute the applications. So we have a web role which is actually used for building and deploying of the web applications. We have a worker role, so which is used to build or deploy on the other Windows applications or other the cloud-based applications. And we have a VM role which is used for managing the instance of the virtual machines which are required for execution of the applications. So this VM role will handle how many virtual machines are required or how many instances of servers are required for any kind of applications. So as we already discussed this, so storage service is used for managing the data, and we have so three like so blobs, tables, and queues. These are the different ways of storing the data in cloud. And the fabric controller is used to create virtual machines required for running the application. And along with creating the virtual machines, it also makes sure that like it monitors all the running instance. So that way, like say if any of the instance is failed, it will automatically create another instance uh, just to manage all the executions. So any downtimes will be handled by the fabric controller. This fabric controller is also handles the operating systems and other system related software updates. So that way all the patchings and software upgradations will be done automatically by the fabric controller. Now let's try to see like, so what I'll get with an Azure free subscriptions. There are like different ways to log into the Azure. Like either I can test with a free subscription and I can use it for 1 year. So we have like three different options available with the free subscription. So I have like 12 months of popular free services is available. So with the free subscription, I should be able to log into the Azure and we can be exploring all those different services. And we have like 13,300 credits available. So that way we can create different resources over there. And we have 25 always free services. So with these 25 always free services, we can use them and we can create different type of applications on the free subscription. Now let's try to see how an actual Azure environment will look like. So this is how the actual portal will look like. So we have the portal.azure.com is the URL for accessing the Azure portal. So this is the dashboard where we can see all the services are created on this particular subscription. And also we have options for creating any new resources here. Like we can see all the services here. Like these are categorized into different categories here. Like we have compute, networking, storage, web, mobile, containers, databases, analytics. So these are the different categories. Like we can choose so different options to create based on our requirements. So if you see in the networking, we should be able to create a virtual networks. If you go to compute, we can create virtual machines. So if you go to web, we should be able to create app services or the web apps. And if we go to mobiles, we can create mobile applications. And if we go to databases, we actually can create a SQL databases here. So these are the different services available. So depending on our requirements, so we can create all these different services and we can scale up and scale down based on our requirements. Now going back to the presentation. So as I mentioned, it's a pay-per-use model. So that means like we only pay for whatever the services we use. And also it has an option for monthly bill generation. So we can spin off what are the services required and it will generate a monthly bill for that. And it reduces the management and operational overhead. So that means, so we don't have to worry about maintaining all those different services. Everything will be taken care by the cloud providers. And it is used for building, testing, deploying, and managing applications and data. As we already mentioned, like so the entire Azure cloud is for building different type of applications and managing the data. And it supports multiple programming languages. And it has a dedicated data centers managed by the Microsoft. Now let's see like so what are the different offers or the service offerings we are providing on the Azure side. So we are offering internships on the various Azure services. So on the specific Azure services we are providing internships, and also we have a fast track training on specific Azure services. Like if somebody is looking for training on machine learning, somebody is looking for training on IoT devices. So those kind of different specific services, we will providing a fast track training for that. And also we have an end-to-end Azure training program will be there. And we also provide a job guaranteed program where we support students on technology and placements. Like so we'll be providing all the required technology side guidelines, and also we are providing the guidelines are for preparing the resumes, preparing themselves for the interviews. So we're also offering some overseas opportunities. So TechUFrog actually it supports overseas opportunities. If anyone is interested in overseas jobs, so TechUFrog will take care of the entire process, starting from applications, visa stamping, traveling, immigration guidances, and also job guaranteed assistance. So these are the different services completely handled by the TechUFrogs. So we are connected and we are social. So if you can follow us on social media, where you can find all the latest training schedules and upcoming events, and any kind of queries you guys can reach out for. You can reach out us with this particular mail ID, and you can contact me with this particular contact number. Thank you once again for attending the webinar. Hope you guys have some basic understanding of cloud computing and how Azure Cloud Platform is working. So thank you again. Have a nice day.